Hi everyone and welcome to this video. In this video I wanted to see if it's possible to draw with tea. So I remember when I was a child, in school we would sometimes use tea to make paper look older by staining it and creating props like treasure maps or just old looking letters. And it was really interesting to see the way you could age paper by staining it with tea. So recently I was thinking about this and I thought I could make a challenge out of it, whether I could paint or even draw with tea. I felt like I could definitely paint with it, seeing the way it could stain paper, but I wasn't sure about the drawing, so that's going to be my main challenge. I wanted to see if I could draw using a dip pen and tea. As you can see from the clips I recorded, I added a little bit of water to the tea to make it nice and saturated to create a darker colour. And then from there I could always add more water to dilute it and create lighter shades. Then I poured it into an egg cup. This worked out really well, using the egg cup like I would an ink pot, just dipping the brushes and the dip pen into it. Then it was time for some testing on a scrap piece of paper, and I started off by just doodling and trying a bunch of different ideas and shapes and techniques, just seeing what the tea could do. And while doing this, I could figure out my concerns that I had about using the tea. So my first concern was the darkness and how dark I could actually get it, because that would really affect the final drawing I eventually work on. And I even tried a bunch of different tea brands and different techniques of brewing the tea to see if I could get it any darker, and nothing really made a huge effect. I was kind of stuck with the certain level I could get to, and that was it. But I knew that I could create something with this, so that was a positive. And then I also wanted to know how well the tea would flow, especially with the dip pen, and whether or not it would work smoothly on watercolour paper. So before I started, I imagined it would be like watercolour paint, and I was hoping this would be the case so that I could create something. And in the end, it worked really well. It worked smoothly with the brushes and the pen, and I could add layers, so if I left one layer to dry, I could draw over the top of it. I could also add really fine details and lots of fine lines, and they were also very smooth, which is another huge positive. So lots of positives going on, and I just continued testing the tea in lots of different ways, while thinking about ideas I could work on for a final drawing later on. Once I was happy with the testing I did with the tea and the brushes and the dip pen, I then started sketching some ideas in my sketchbook, and initially I was thinking about maybe working on a mountain landscape, but I decided to try something different, and I actually wanted to work on a piece that showed a couple of old trees sitting on top of an interesting rock formation, and I wanted the layers to be separated by mist. So I used the sketchbook to practice sketching the old twisting trees, and it also really helped me to decide on the design of the rock formation. Once I was confident with what I wanted to work on, I started sketching the layout on some watercolour paper. After that, it was time to add the tea, and I wanted to add all of the painting first, starting with a wash in the background, and I also used a tissue at this point to hopefully make it look cloudy. Then it was time to add layers of tea to each of the different sections, and I was diluting the tea with more water for the lighter shaded areas. With all of the painting complete, it was time to draw with the dip pen, so this was the moment of truth, and I had my fingers crossed. It actually ended up being so much fun to add this next layer. To see the lines standing out and getting slightly darker as they dried was a huge relief, and I decided to continue using hatching to add shading and to develop the shapes of the trees and the rock formations. I really enjoyed adding the hatching to the trees, especially the one in the foreground, because I could curve the hatching to develop its twisted shape. In the end, I decided to add some animals to the scene, with a rabbit on the grass in the foreground, and a little bird sitting on top of the tree, along with some birds flying in the distance. And after that, it was complete. And I absolutely loved attempting this challenge. I really didn't know if it was possible. I didn't think that the drawing would work out, but I'm so glad it did, and I'm really, really happy with the result. So please let me know what you think of this in the comments below, and also let me know if you have any suggestions for future drawings or any challenges you'd like to see me attempt. If you want to see more art videos, then feel free to subscribe to my channel, and any thumbs up or shares on this video are hugely appreciated. If you want to follow and support my progress, then be sure to check out the links in the description for my Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and Patreon. And once again, thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for the support. I really appreciate it, and I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you all soon.